Hi, everyone. So I'm actually recording from my hotel room in Boston. I am attending the American Council of Teachers of Foreign Language. For those of you who don't know, I am a French teacher. Um, and that works out perfectly for what I want to talk about today, which is one of the sides of entrepreneurship that I don't think we talk about enough, and I was definitely not prepared for when I left the classroom. And that's the loneliness that comes with it. And this was something that came up in my mentor group meeting that we had earlier this week. And it's something that I've been wanting to talk about as the teachers I'm working with are transitioning out of the classroom and into their own businesses. One of the things that came up was loneliness and the lack of community that we can have um, becoming private practice teachers. So the reason I wanted to talk about that a little bit, even though when we're in the classroom, we don't get to talk to our teacher friends very much. And we're on the entire time and we're under a microscope from whatever the higher ups are looking for from us. Even just getting to look out your classroom door to your teacher across the hall, or even just that like wave that you do so that way they can maybe keep an eye on your classroom so you can run to the bathroom, those types of things is still a community, even though you don't get to talk to them and be with them in the way that you would like to, nearly as often as you would like to. That you have a community and you have a shared experience. And that's something that you lose when you leave the classroom and strike out on your own. You lose that sense of community. And so often I think we focus on all the good things, like we focus on the freedom that you have, the time freedom, the freedom to teach in a way that you know is best for your students without the constraints of whatever curriculum or new program or data and lesson plans or new formats or whatever initiatives and that are being thrown on top of you, grade reporting and a certain number of grades, and we could go on and on about all of that. So the freedom from that and letting teaching be just about the learning and letting teaching be just about what is best for the student that's right in front of you at that time, or the handful of students that are right in front of you at that time. We focus on that, and we talk about that, and we talk about getting paid for your knowledge and respected for your knowledge and your expertise, in a way, it compensated for it in a way that is appropriate for your expertise and knowledge and level of education. And so we talk about a lot of those things, all of the pros. And I think it's important that we take a minute to talk about the cons. And some of the cons are the loneliness, which I'll talk about in a little bit more in just a second. The lack of structure. It's kind of like being a high school student and going off to college, right? Leaving your parents' house. And you have all this freedom. And, it's a little bit, it takes you a little bit of time to settle into what's going to be a productive schedule that allows you to do all of the things that you really want to do and that you really want to accomplish. There's the transition period of feeling like there's never enough hours in the day to do all of the things that you need to do, to now having complete time freedom to doing all of the things that you not only need to do but want to do. And how do you find an equilibrium with that? And yeah, that's a good problem to have, but it's still kind of a problem, and that takes some forethought and planning in order to go from this like highly structured lifestyle to one that you're structuring yourself. So that's one of the pitfalls. And even working from home. So for a lot of people, working from home is awesome because then I can do the laundry. I mean, I know I used to sit in my lunch while I was still grading, but at least I wasn't like on stage at that time, not on stage, but in front of students or engaging with students. And I was able to kind of let my mind think about what was going to be happening in the next half of my day. So finishing out the rest of my teaching day, and then what needed to happen once I got home, and what needed to happen in order for the next day to run smoothly. Does everyone have the laundry that they need? Do I have all the ingredients I need for dinner? So all of those, other life outside of the classroom thoughts needed to take place. And I would have those. Well, while that would only happen to me during my lunchtime and maybe on my drive to and from school, when I started working from home, that could intrude anytime. And I would have the time. I thought, oh, this is awesome. I'm always behind on laundry. Laundry is my nemesis. I hate it. Really have a struggle with laundry, anyway, I'm not alone in that. So I'm going to move on. But I often think, oh, I can throw a load of laundry in, and then I'll get a fresh cup of coffee, and then I'll sit down in my office and I'll get some work done, and then I can switch the laundry over. And that little disruption in my day isn't going to disrupt my train of thought too much that it's going to impede my productivity. But it actually kind of does. And for me, working from home turned out to not be the best solution for me. I actually got to a point where I was successful enough in my business that it made sense, if I was going to continue to grow, to actually get an office space where I could work more productively outside of the home, so that when I came home, I would do very little work for my business and I could be more present for my family. So that actually worked out for me, but that was something that I had to figure out. But in our last mentor group session that we had, one of the things that the teachers brought up was loneliness. And as an introvert, I don't always pick up on that one so much. I mean, I noticed that my eating and the structure, and I noticed that, I needed to make sure I took time for movement, and I needed to make sure that I took time for mindset and how I could be most productive. But I didn't think about the need for socialization until my teacher mentees brought it up. And I really started digging deep into that. And it's really important that we have that socialization. And I'm finding that just even being here in Boston at the ACTFul conference is really filling my cup in a way that I wasn't expecting. I was expecting the professional development. I was expecting to be rejuvenated in my teaching practice. I was expecting to come from this with a lot of great ideas of things that I wanted to do with my teaching students, with my private students. But what I wasn't expecting was the community, the camaraderie, the clarity in my own thought processes that comes from being with a community of people who have some shared experiences and that can ask you questions and that can engage with you in a professional community way. So while I was still able to get some personal socializing done with my own friends, there is really something very special and important about having a community of professionals and having that professional community. So that's really the take-home point, and something that I think I want to help to create here in our private practice teacher Facebook group, and with my program alumni, and even more be outside of that. I saw that in my Facebook group, there's about 20% of you already have your own businesses. And I don't know if that's in addition to being in the classroom or if it's completely separate, but I think it's important, even for us teachers that have left the classroom, but are still tied into education in some way, that we have a professional community that we can stay connected to, that we can reach in. And I was talking with the teachers in my group, and we're thinking that one of the things we would really like to do would be to have maybe just like a half an hour, a couple times a week, where we just go live, and whoever can show up, and we just talk. We just have that time for professional socializing that we lack and that we lose. I mean, even when I was in the classroom, so many of these initiatives that my district and my building came up with made it so I couldn't even go to the lunchroom to have lunch anymore. I was so busy working during my lunch hour that I didn't even get to socialize outside of the like waving or, you know, the eye contact that we can make that's communicates so much. So even for the teachers that are still in the classroom, the teachers that have left the classroom and are finding that they're really missing that community that we can have just as teachers. I think that's something that we're going to do, and maybe it'll be slow and it'll just be, you know, us sitting there babbling to ourselves for the first couple of lives, or checking in just the teachers that are already in my group. Maybe we'll just have like a little 2 o'clock tea time or 4 o'clock tea time or something that we can have. I know my teacher BFF, she and I used to get together just for 15 minutes every Friday. It was just at the end of the day on Friday. We would meet in one or the other's room. Frequently it was in mine because I had a little cafe in my classroom as a French teacher. I just had like a little coffee pot, and so we'd have a fresh cup of decaf coffee and just kind of like, blah, you know, let the week go and have a little bit of just a nice transition from the week of being in the class to moving into the weekend. And that kind of just that was really helpful for me in being able to leave everything that needed to stay in the classroom for the weekend in the classroom and transition nicely into the weekend. So that's kind of it. That's the talk. That's what I wanted to talk about, is the importance of making sure that you stay plugged in to a professional community, not necessarily just for the professional perks, right? I mean, I'm here at this ACTFL conference and I know I'm going to get a lot of great pedagogy. I'm going to learn some new methods. I don't even know all the things that I'm going to get out of it. But what I'm really, one of the unexpected benefits and things that I really, really need is the camaraderie and the socialization that comes from just being able to be myself as an educator, with that educator hat on with other educators in a social and relaxed way where we can talk about our shared experiences. So to sum up, you know, some of the downsides, we focus so much on the good sides of entrepreneurship. And other than the roller coaster that I talked about before of the like, yay, I'm doing it. Oh my gosh, I'm doing it. Can I really do it? Oh, where's the next, you know, of just getting started, that stressful roller coaster, but also the freedom and learning how to manage that freedom in a way that's going to get us closer to our goals. And the importance of making sure that we stay connected to a professional social group, not just our personal social group, because my teacher self was really sort of languishing without the company and the camaraderie of other teachers. So that's just something I wanted to bring to your awareness. I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend, and I will check back in with everybody after the conference, or probably a little bit here and there throughout the conference. And I think we're going to start up our little, like, maybe it'll be a Friday 4 o'clock coffee time or 4:30 coffee time, to just sort of see, you know, who shows up. And if you are an entrepreneur and you're out of the classroom and there's just a time of day that's kind of low on your schedule, go ahead and let me know. Like, comment on this video and let me know when would be a good time for a live where we could just kind of chit chat and talk about life as a teacher entrepreneur, because that's a pretty specialized experience. You know, there's not a ton of us out there yet, and we have our own strengths, weaknesses, areas of growth, personal challenges, personal wins that we want to celebrate. And I would love to share that with you and to have that community with you. So that's it. I hope that you're all well, and I will talk to you later. Bye.